I'm Joey Tedesco, and you're watching the Cartoon Palooza. I'm going to briefly talk about fandoms, and there's one fandom in particular relating to my video that I just gotta address. The Transformers fans. You guys, I swear, have put up with a lot of crap over the years. Specifically with those Michael Bay movies. Then again, even before the Michael Bay movies, you got this cartoon based on a toy line that was based on a Japanese toy line that was repurposed for American audiences, given a TV show that's entertaining but for the most part dumb, mindless action, and yet you guys are still satisfied with it. You know, I think you deserve better than this. And that's where Bumblebee comes into play, a movie that not only satisfies the Transformers fan, but in my opinion also satisfies the average moviegoer. I went to an advanced screening for this movie, so I won't be spoiling it, as well as this being a video that was requested as part of a poll I put down through my YouTube community tab. So if you don't think this is something I normally watch, I can expect you not watching this, I don't know, but for the most part I've talked about Transformers movies, so this shouldn't be outside my realm. Our movie opens on the Transformers planet Cybertron. Optimus Prime and his Autobots crew are fighting the Decepticons, and I'll be honest with you, within the first 5 or 10 minutes of this movie, it sounds super familiar. Believe it or not, this is actually the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first Transformers movie. Not the first Michael Bay one, but the first Transformers movie. I'm only saying this because I reviewed this movie about a year ago. Starts off with Autobots fighting Decepticons. They go back to Earth, continued with more fighting robots. At some point, the character Bumblebee is sent by Optimus Prime to go to Earth to scout the planet for refuge. When they get there, they see John C. I'm not going to do the meme, don't worry. They're doing a training. They come across Bumblebee. They're afraid of him. They also see Starscream. I think it's Starscream, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this franchise anyways. And during the fight, we find out that Bumblebee loses his memory as well as his voice box, having to rely on the radio in order for him to have his voice, as with the first Michael Bay movie. After that, we go into, in my opinion, a better movie. Being set in the 80s, we have a character named Charlie who loses her father before the film, and she's coping with the loss pretty well. She's played by Haley Steinfeld, who in my opinion is like one of the best young child actresses out there. I don't even know if I should really consider her a child actress anymore. I think she's like almost a young adult at this point, so young actress? And she comes across Bumblebee, who's lost his memory, has no recollection of being a soldier for the Autobots, and from there on, it's the movie you expect it to be. The self-discovery journey with the pet and the person who's lost something. I mean, I actually reviewed this movie about a couple months ago called Next Gen, that pretty much has this same storyline. But this is a trope that's not going to go away. It's existed since E.T., and a lot of the times tropes can do well if done something interesting. And for the most part, what's interesting about this is that this is the first time we got the Transformers movies, which for the most part have been loud annoyances of racism and whatnot, and actually given something more bare bones. It doesn't have that many explosions, and when it does, it actually comes and feels warranted. There's moments of humor that actually feel inspired by the actions of the characters as opposed to just being blatant stereotypes. Actual thought went into this movie when it comes to the thrills, and to me, I appreciate that as opposed to Transformers, which thinks that you should have racist robots be the yucks of the movie. Travis Knight, the CEO of Leica Animation, is the director of this film, and you can tell his touch really influences this film. A lot of focus is on the visual aesthetics. One detail that I absolutely love is that Bumblebee's vision is impacted by this analog 80s era style of viewing things versus looking like high-tech stuff. So it looks like something out of a VCR, or it has effects that look like it comes from the film War Games. And to me, it's a minor detail, but it actually influences the film a lot. The visuals also influence the humor, because Bumblebee, as a character, is mostly mute throughout this film. He has to rely on physical actions. Sprinkled throughout the film, you got some brilliant moments influenced by his physical humor. Granted, this film is set in the 80s, but I feel like this is a great idea, mostly because most of the fans who are representative of the Transformers franchise do go back to that first generation. So when they're going to see Optimus Prime, they don't think about that giant, big mesh of metal. They think about that first simple truck, the bulky design that's from the animated series. So when you got that, people are going to be pleased. But I'm just saying, I'm glad it isn't just focused on fan service, which this film's got plenty of. But it does focus on the heart of the film, which does deal with the character Charlie and Bumblebee, reconnecting, learning from each other, and finding out ways to be better people. On top of the fact that you got supporting characters that aren't that bad either. John Cena, as I mentioned before, is a very charismatic actor. Granted, his character as being the soldier isn't really original, but he's actually got some pretty good moments within the film. One in particular dealing with the Decepticons, where the Decepticons come in saying that they're going to help out the humans when really they just want to find Bumblebee. And John Cena is the one person saying the thing that I was saying in the audience, which is, why would you trust a race of robots called Decepticons? I'm not kidding. That's an actual line in the film. I'm bringing it up, but it's not really a spoiler, so don't worry. I mentioned there's a lot of action, and sometimes the action does go a little excessively. It stays firmly in the PG-13 realm to a certain degree, and I think sometimes they go a little bit excessive, but then again, it is a Transformers product, regardless of being a Michael Bay produced movie. It's just reflective of Transformers in general. They're just mindless, dumb action. That's what it is to me. That's what it'll always be to me. No offense to the guys out there who love it and find some great, amazing stuff. If it inspires you to be a great person, you can keep liking it. All I gotta say is it's not for me, and from whatever I see with Transformers, it's not really smart, riveting, thought-provoking action, okay? It's not Shakespeare. It's Optimus Prime beating up other robots. With my rating, I gotta consider the audience watching this film, which is going to be the family audience and teenagers, and for the most part, they're going to enjoy the film. Transformers fans, I think this is a film that's for you specifically. I'll go on and say that this is the movie that you have to see, but if we're focusing on a general rating, for me personally, it's gonna be an okay movie. Not great, not something I'm going to go out and see again, but mostly because it represents how I feel about this franchise, which for the most part isn't really that thought-provoking, but at the same time, if this is on TV, I wouldn't mind watching it. So comment below, let me know what you think. It's fun making these videos. If you like this video, like it, subscribe to the channel so you can watch more content. My question for the day, I talked about Transformers things, but I'm going to talk about 80s nostalgia because that's going to be a big thing right now. What is a movie that you would like to see based on an 80s property make a comeback? Comment below, let me know what you think. And you know what? Since there's probably a lot of 90s kids, let's do early 90s properties too. Comment below, let me know what you think. I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P, and thanks for watching this video on the Cartoon Palooza.